family, his closest friends, everybody that loved him. I met Frankie close to 55 years ago. We were going to be involved in a business venture. And I was introduced to him by a mutual friend. When I first saw Frankie, he had a smile on his face, and for 2 hours he didn't stop smiling, and I asked my friend, what the hell is wrong with this guy? I said, this guy is a couple of tacos short of a full picnic basket. And he said, no, that's the way Frankie is. You have to know. For 55 years, he kept that same smile. If you were his friend, you were in. If you were his enemy, God bless you. He's a guy that really, really enjoyed life. You know, most people, they can live to be 100 years old, but they never live, actually. Frankie lived 3 lifetimes. He was a man that was always caught up in the moment, regardless of what he was doing. His favorite thing was having breakfast. No matter where you were at, he would tell you the closest restaurant and what they were serving, and he knew the waitresses, he knew everybody. I said, Frankie, when was the last time you were here? Oh, about 5 years ago. I said, man, that's unbelievable. I used to call Mr. Zagat. You know, Zagat is a publication that's put out that lists different restaurants and rates them according to how food tastes and all of that. That was Frankie. And the general conversation was always about his family, about his grandkids. Deeply loved his grandkids. He was always talking. He kept me abreast of all of their accomplishments of his family. He was always interested in my family, especially my mother. How's your mom doing? Oh, always say the same thing. I said, well, she's in very good health. And he would go, yeah, but you were here. I said, oh, up there, she's crazy as hell. No, I said, no, she's all there, you know, yeah, absolutely. But, you know, that was Frankie's way. And he had a habit of eating really slow. And I said, Frankie, why do you eat so slow? And he goes, there's no other way to eat. He goes, that's the Latin way. We enjoy our food. And I go, you know what? I've been eating the wrong way. Because I used to sit down and it was like 2 seconds, it was gone. And then I started slowing down and enjoying my food, and he was absolutely right. He was great at giving advice. I called him the philosopher. One time, about 10 years after I met him, I mentioned to him, I said, Frankie, you know what? I'm really lucky because I have a lot of friends. And he stopped. He goes, stop right there. He goes, you don't have a lot of friends, you have a lot of acquaintances. He says, you have as many friends as you have fingers on your right hand. And eliminate 2 of those because those are not your friends. Those are people pretending to be your friends. Something happened in my life, and I thought, well, I'm just going to rely on my friends. Didn't go that easy. All my friends disappeared. There were only 3 left. One of them was Frankie. So I never forgot that. But the thing that really struck me the most about Frankie was his zest for life, how he enjoyed himself, the pleasure he took in the littlest things. You know, I was in Puerto Rico a couple of times with him, and one time we went out and we had a few drinks, and we're going back. It was getting dark. Frankie lived by this philosophy, don't walk so fast that you can't smell the roses. So as we're walking towards the car, we passed by this place and there were some roses there. Well, you can imagine after drinking that, Frankie had to relieve himself, and he did it right on the roses. I said, this is a wonderful thing, Frankie. Not only do you walk so slow that you can smell the roses, but you take the time to water them. So he especially enjoyed that. You know, there's what I call the mystery of life. And I was thinking the other night about how short it is. And you have theologians, philosophers, everybody trying to figure out the meaning of life, when it's actually something very simple. Here's the meaning of life. One day you're born, one day you die, and everything in between is life. That little thin slice right there, that's life. And Frankie managed to take that and expand it and live in the moment and teach us things, because you were constantly learning with Frank. Frank taught me the meaning of fear. And if any of you were ever in a car with him, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He didn't do too much for the reputation of Latin drivers here in Miami. Believe me, he used to drive like a wild man, and it was never his fault. I said, Frankie, what are you doing? He goes, well, that guy cut me off. I said, Frankie, you made a U-turn in front of him. My God, there were nuns in that car. Have you no shame for it? He says, you worry too much. Well, one time, going to breakfast, he was driving like that. I said, Frankie, as clean as I can put this, I said, Frankie, you drive like old people make love. I said, I was looking forward towards having a cup of coffee, but I'm so amped up right now from your driving that I feel completely alive. The grass is greener, the sky is bluer. I said, if I had a cup of coffee right now, I'd turn into a sniper. There's so many things I want to say about Frankie. He was my friend, he was my brother, he was my mentor. He made me a better person, and I'm sure everybody that Frankie touched, he also turned you into a better person. He was very caring. Bad thing about Frankie was he was habitually late for anything. I'm surprised he showed up here on time. But he was such a convincing person that he always managed to convince you. If we were to meet somewhere for breakfast, he'd say, well, what time are you going to be there? I'd say, well, I'll be there at 8:30. He goes, I'll be walking right through the door at 8:30. I would get there, sit down, 15 minutes, I'd call him, Frankie, where are you? Man, I'm right around the corner. No, seriously, where are you? No, I'll be right there. 15 minutes later, I'd call him up, Frankie, I'm in the parking lot. Frankie, where are you? An hour later, he would show up. So I figured, well, I'm going to fix this. So if I was going to meet him at 8:30, I told him to meet me there at 7:30. That only worked one time, because he caught on to that one. He goes, you think you're really smart? He said, I already figured you out, man. Still continue to get to come in there late. Somebody once said, you're not really dead until everybody forgets about you. And if that's the case, Frankie's going to be on for a long time, because he's going to continue to live in our hearts. He's going to continue to live in our minds. I can't accept the fact that he's gone. This morning I get up and I figured, I think I'll give him a call. And I realize, well, he's not with us anymore. And I'm talking to several of you, you're basically thinking about the same thing, how you think about him and then you realize that the last one, he's gone, but he's not really gone. We're going to do a little exercise here. This is not hypnosis. I teach hypnosis. I do stage shows and all that. This is not hypnosis. Close your eyes. Think about the best memory you've had of Frankie. What you were doing at that time. Maybe it was when he was holding your son, your daughter, when he was holding his grandchild. That look that he had on his face. Picture that in your mind. Picture when you were a little kid and he did something. You did something that he was very proud of. And hold that in your mind. Picture the good things that he did as a friend, as a caring relative. Picture that in your mind. And whenever you have any problems or anything, bring that memory up, and it'll help to relax you. I can't think of a better honor than to have been chosen to do this. Thank you.